All right, a while back I did a video talking about can you build muscle using a Weider Ultimate Body Works and or a Total Gym, and that video kind of went a little long-winded, so I thought I'd do a part 2 and just talking about specifically how do you go about doing that. So how are you going to build muscle using this machine? So that's what I'm going to get into in this video. I'll timestamp everything down below. I'll put links down below to machines and things like that. Also put links down below to the actual programs I'll put together. So some actual sample splits as well you'll find down below that I'll address in the future. But before I get into that, if you guys like this content, you guys want to see more of it, definitely like and or subscribe. But let's get into it. So the very first step I think you need to establish is just establishing a schedule. So what I think works best with this is at minimum 2 to 3 times a week you should be using this machine for at least 20 to 30 minutes. I would say 30 minutes is the sweet spot. So that's assuming, again, very minimal rest time. I would say 30 to 60 seconds. And the beauty of this machine is that you can switch around a lot of different exercises fairly quickly. I personally though, I actually like 4 days a week. I think that's the best sweet spot. I'll talk about that as well, but 4 days a week is my personal favorite. And it should go without saying, you definitely don't want to miss these dates. I mean, the biggest thing is you making any schedule, I don't care what routine you're following, set the days you're gonna do like in your schedule throughout the week, but don't deviate them. As soon as you start missing days, like I'll get to it tomorrow, that's when you're in trouble. So get that in your calendar and don't miss that. That's gonna be very, very important. All right, the next thing you're gonna do is planning out your split or some sort of what you're gonna do on those 2 or 3 days a week or 4 days a week you're gonna train. There's no shortage of exercise splits on the internet. You could do like a chest and tricep day, you could do a back and bicep day, you could do a leg day, you could do a push day, a pull day, and then a leg day. I personally like an upper body day and then a lower body day and then an off day. Basically, try and work the body parts at least twice a week. Kind of figure out your split and what split you're gonna do, but don't get too hung up on like the exact split you need to follow, because that's something that drives people nuts. The most important thing is get the split that kind of fits what you like. I will though, however, in the description box below, link some sample splits. If you guys wanna see some of that, you guys can check that out as well down below. Now, the next logical question I get following this is, okay, I got the days of the week I'm gonna train, I know what split I'm gonna do. What kind of exercises, reps, sets, and even rest periods are best for this machine? I would always pick with the bigger multi-joint exercises like chest and back, stuff like that. I pick basically at least 2 exercises per body part, essentially. With the exception of arms, I don't think you really need to do 2 exercises. You can get by with doing 1 exercise. For repetitions, since this, like I said before, isn't as really high in the intensity with external load, I think the sweet spot is between 8 and 20. Some exercises might need less than that. Some exercises might need a little more than that. For sets, I think the sweet spot for sets using this machine is between 2 and 4. 3 to 4 is like my sweet spot. You could go a little bit higher if you wanted to, depending on the exercise, but I'd say 2 to 4 sets is like the ideal set. And with rest periods, you really don't need more than, especially if you're taking designated rests. I usually am jumping around a lot through circuits, which is another thing you could do with this. I would definitely say you shouldn't be taking no more than a minute rest. Just basically don't waste time if you're gonna be using this machine. So a sample of what I would do typically is that I would pick, again, if it's an upper day, I would go ahead and pick 2 chest exercises, 2 back exercises. What I actually kind of do is I'll intermix both of those. I'll do my chest exercise, I'll do my first back exercise. Again, I'll do that back to back, about 3 to 4 sets. Then I'll go to my next chest exercise and then back exercise, again, for another 3 to 4 sets. And then after that, I will pick some sort of arm exercise for biceps, 1 arm exercise for triceps, and that's pretty much it. And then some days I might intermix some sort of core thing, or maybe I'll introduce some sort of cardio thing, maybe an interval. Doesn't mean there's some days I might pick 2 different arm exercises, that's fine. But yeah, pretty much I just find, again, something I'm kind of feeling, which I'll get to, that's working really well for that day, and that's pretty much what I do. And then with legs, there's not as much of a selection in legs. Depending on the machine you have and your body type and size and what level of flexibility you can do, you might be limited. I know you can do a lot of single joint stuff like knee extensions and hamstring curls and things like that. I personally just don't, not that I don't feel good or I like them, they just take a little more cumbersome to do. I'm just not worried about those type of isolation exercises for my legs. So what I typically do is I will pick roughly two bigger compound movements. I shouldn't say compound, more multi-joint movements. So I'll do a lot of the prone squats on here. I'll even do some of the regular leg press stuff on here as well. I do some drop step lunges in this machine. And then sometimes I'll do that single leg stuff, but pretty much I pick 2 of those. I pick 2 multi-joint exercises and then I'll follow it up. Maybe I'll do a little bit more sets. I might add 4 or 5 sets for that particular one because I'm doing a little bit less work. And then for me, maybe once in a while I'll do like a single joint stuff, but then usually I'll intermix it with something else or just make it a cardio day. So my leg days usually aren't as big. You can still follow the same rules. You just pick 2 compound lifts and then 2 kind of smaller, exercises like knee extensions or hamstring curls, and that could be like your leg day. Okay, and point number 4 basically is definitely take days off if you're not feeling it. So it's no different than dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, or even resistance bands. Even resistance bands, people can kind of hurt themselves. The point is just don't overdo it. I think take at least a day off between a particular body part is good, but definitely, you know, take a week off of an exercise. If a certain exercise feels weird, don't do it. Point number 5 kind of goes with some previous points I made earlier, but if you're gonna start incorporating some other like heavier barbells or heavy dumbbell stuff, kind of moderately heavy external weights, I would put that stuff at the front of the workout and then incorporate them, and then incorporate the Total Gym or Weider Ultimate Body Works towards the middle or towards the end of the workout, because you just don't want to exhaust, you know, those muscles and those exercises that essentially need that more work, more emphasis. In the same way, you don't want to start doing like a lot of the tricep and bicep stuff before you start doing like the pulls and the chest presses on this machine. So always front load the multi-joint stuff. You certainly can intermix things though. Like if you're gonna start doing like it's your upper body day, like I would do, if you're gonna do like your 2 chest exercises, I would first pick the first chest exercise. If you're gonna incorporate some external weight as let's say dumbbells in this case, do the dumbbell presses first, then go into the second exercise being the Total Gym. This next tip I'm recommending is probably my most important tip that I can give people when they're using a machine like this. But really this goes with any device really, if it's talking about building muscle or improving muscle definition and things like that. And that's something, if you watch my channel a lot, I kind of allude to this, talking about really making sure tension is constantly on the muscle, or that you're kind of feeling it. I'll say that a lot, those words. You can do this a number of ways. It could be with this specific machine, you shouldn't be doing any exercise where you're not stressing the muscle directly. That's how essentially muscle grows. It's a little bit different than just pressing raw strength. It wants to essentially create little micro tears. It wants to have a signal to the body or a stimulus to the body that's saying, I need to essentially grow more muscle in this particular area. And the only way to do that is to stress the muscle. And how I do it a little bit different is I mess with tempos. Obviously I mess with inclines and things like that, but people have commented on my videos before and saying, you know, you're going too fast. And certainly I see what they're saying, but my point is on some exercises, I feel it better if I go slow and controlled. Some exercises I feel better when I go a little bit faster, especially like the chest presses. I like kind of even doing some partial reps. I feel it more in my chest if I kind of keep that tension on my chest by doing some partial repetitions. Doesn't mean you can never do full repetitions or never do a slow tempo or a fast tempo. But the point is mess around with tempo, mess around with ranges of motion even to kind of keep tension and stress on that muscle. And this goes without saying, right? Obviously, you know, mess with the inclines if you got this stuff. If a particular exercise calls for something that you were gonna mix up and try something different, but you're not, again, feeling it that day, switch the exercise. Even things like grips. This was a pair I got a while ago. They're kind of fading now. I linked them down below, but I haven't tried that many other pair of grips, but this made a huge difference just in the way the exercises felt. Find something that you're kind of feeling tension in that muscle and then keep that tension. So mess with variety, mess with tension, mess with isometric holds on certain exercises. So that's something you can do as well. The last tip, I just have to mention it, even though I almost thought about just skipping it. I don't want to go into a whole other 20 minutes on this, but obviously diet is very important. If your goal is muscle building or building lean muscle, you need to have those building blocks and the essentials essentially down. I'm not having you guys overthink it, but I'm saying if your goal is to put on more lean muscle mass, some people need to eat more. Obviously making sure protein is always at that nice point of like at least 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. If you're on a caloric deficit and you're trying to lose weight, obviously you don't want to go too dramatic with that deficit, but then protein might need to be a little higher. And these are all according to the International Society of Sport Nutrition, or the ISSN, who I think are the gold standard in sport nutrition information. I can link them down below. I'm a member of them. I think they're awesome for information about sport nutrition, but I thought I might as well just reference that, because the point is, yeah, nutrition has to be kind of just there. At least the building blocks have to be there if you're going to think about building muscle. And this isn't really like a final tip. I guess it's just something that you guys need to kind of get in your head. And all these things I'm saying right now can be thrown out the window if you just remember being consistent with the machine. I guarantee if you, at the very least, establish points 1 and 2 about getting the schedule down, getting a split down, even irregardless, I don't know how your form is. Obviously, we don't people get hurt, but if you get the schedule down and you get whatever thing you're going to do and you're consistent with it, and I guarantee if you're consistent with it, be consistent, at least give me like at least 3 months. If you're consistent with it and you're just starting from ground zero, you definitely will see results, especially if you're putting in that time. I said minimum 20 minutes, whatever. I guarantee you before and after, people will start noticing it, assuming you're being consistent with it. Just do that no matter what, and I guarantee you guys will see some results. So that's it. Hopefully it answered your question. Hopefully this wasn't too long. If you guys like this video, definitely like and or subscribe to the video. I make content regarding this machine and other things that make home fitness easy and accessible. cheap and efficient often. So if you guys like this content, definitely subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.